Real Italians, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Woo, guys. Oh, Luca, that's just thinking about what you just shared about suffer more. When we choose to forgive, sometimes we take on that suffering a bit because we're choosing to let the indiscretion go. Because we could hold it in front of them, but we're choosing to let it pass. Like we're not the judge. Even though we received the offense, we're not the judge. We're called to love. If we do one thing as the disciples of Jesus Christ, love. Love. And it sounds ooey gooey, it sounds wishy-washy, it sounds weak. It actually takes more strength to love someone through indiscretion or through hardship or through offense than it does to hold them in a place of punishment. Wow, that's good. That's good. Well, guys, thank you for joining us again for Kingdom Leaders. Today's message is coming from this book. It's Control. Trapped by Control and How to Find Freedom. It's written by David Cross. He's part of the LL Ministries team. My wife, Megan, and my daughter, Michaela, both just came back from 3 weeks in the UK. Remember how I went there in March for a week? They just did a course called Impact, which is 3 weeks, kind of a 9-week course crammed into 3 weeks, and it truly is a impact of learning and growing and inner healing and deliverance training. So they teach you about these things, and then they allow you to have time to pray through them. And so it's very, very great. So she came back loaded with books, and she says, James, these are for you. Start reading. I said, excellent. This is great. I love it. So this is the first book I picked up, and I was intrigued by the title, Trapped by Control. And Mark and you and I were talking about it. One of the things that I've always said is I like to control my environment. I like to control my workplace. I like to control the outcome of everything. And I realized I might actually be trapped by control. Let me find out what does this mean? Like, what the heck is hey? Next thing I know, I am underlining, highlighting, and just rubber stamping every spot. I'm like, yeah, I guess this there must be something to it. Part of our lives is, when we give our life to Christ as our Savior, when we recognize that He is the Savior of the world, and then when we give our lives over to Him as the Master, as we give our lives over to Him as the Lord of our lives, we then have to be okay with being uncomfortable. We have to be okay with the magnifying glass being put over and hovering over our areas of our life. And sometimes it might come from a spouse, might come from one of our adult children or younger children. It might come from a coworker, it might come from our boss. It might actually be, there's an area in your life that has to change. And what we can do as men, say, what are you saying? We can put our hands up and we can be ready to fight. And we can be like, no, I don't. That doesn't apply to me. And the more we push against it, the more we know it actually does have to do with us. Does that make sense? So as disciples of Jesus Christ, not a follower, not a believer. I'm not talking about believers or followers. You follow what I'm saying? I'm talking about disciple. A disciple of Jesus Christ, the word in Hebrew is talmidim. Talmidim breaks down as taught ones. They were taught. They were learned ones. They were learned. They applied it. So when we sit and we learn, we have to be willing to kind of take the abrasiveness of the topic at hand and say, I guess that does apply to us. And Mark, you're right. Some people be like, I ain't going to that one. That doesn't seem very uplifting and appealing to me. I get it. There's some things I just don't want to go sit under. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that maybe there's an area that I got to work through. And so much of what I share with you today is from this book. And there's a series of questions that we're going to get a chance to ask ourselves. And if we say yes to any of those questions, It means that you may have had an issue of control where someone was controlling of you, and you felt controlled by that person or that thing. Or you may be, or I may be actually applying control towards someone or over someone. There's godly control and there's ungodly control. Let's get that clear. There's people who operate in authority and people who operate outside of authority. Okay? So there's a question which everybody should ask themselves day by day. Who or what controls my life? For many of us, the lordship of Jesus is continually being challenged by ungodly controls that come from people, situations, and also from within ourselves. Control is the foremost motivation behind the spiritual battle that exists in the universe. The desire for authority and the power to yield by authority is the primary plan and purpose of Satan, the ruler of this world, as Jesus called him. The enemy of our souls needs the participation of man to exercise that authority and to bring about disorder and destruction of God's creation. He actively opposes this creation by rebelling against his maker. Did you all know that Satan is a created being? He's not a god. Not a god at all. He is a created being using his free will of choice to rebel and create a rebellion. Our inherently sinful nature draws us naturally into the realm of control through a desire to promote and protect ourselves and to minimize the wounding that comes through relationships. Control, which ignores the authority of Jesus, brings considerable damage into the lives of all those affected. However, authority under the direction of Jesus brings radical restoration. Many of us have experienced the damage of wrong control in our lives, but equally we need to face the fact that many of us have learned to control others in a wrong way. Through the experiences of life, many have come to believe, sometimes unconsciously, that being in control of each situation will be a place of protection. I absolutely have camped there. Actually, it just destroys relationships. We held on just a little too tightly. And now they want to run. Some have also become experts in controlling their own responses to life, both of the past and present, only to discover that they have shut down from the truth of real relationships and also with God himself. The question again is who or what controls my life? That's the topic. Mark, would you grab me a water when you come back?
Yeah.
Please and thank you. We would like to answer that by saying Jesus is the Lord of all I believe, all I do, and all I say. However, unresolved fears or wrongful hold of some relationships, thank you, or even our own soulish self-control, all inadvertently battle against the goal of Jesus being our only master. So, let me say that again. However, unresolved fears, wrongful hold of some relationships, like we're holding on to relationships that should not be held on to. Just let them go. Like, why are we still messing around with a relationship from 20 years ago that was not good from the begin with, and somehow when that person picks up the phone and they call us, we go, ooh, oh, why is that person calling? I hate when I get on the phone with that person, but I always take the call. Why? Well, because it's your mom. Because I have to. You know? Seriously. Even our soulish self-control. Soul. We've talked about in the past. Our soul. Some people don't quite understand. What is your soul? We have a spirit, a soul, we have a body. What is a soul? Your soul is made up of your mind, your will, and your emotions. So your mind, your will, and your emotions. That creates soul. There's your spirit man, your soul. Your spirit connects with God. It's your soul that tells your body what to do.
It's kind of an unconscious awareness.
Yes, your will determines what you will or will not do. And your will is what tells your body what to do. Hey, go to the store. Go pick it up. Go get that beer. We were talking about that earlier. Hey, right? Just go. I don't want to. You're going. Your spirit man's like, don't do it. Don't do it. Your soul's like, we're doing it. And your body's like, we're going. And here's the money. Why'd I do it? Why'd I do it? Why'd I do it?
You don't have to pray. You do it so you don't pray.
Yeah, because then you'd be aware of God.
You're spiritually shut down as soon as you do it. You're spiritually disconnected.
Yes.
A lot of people drink and drug, so they're disconnected from God.
Yes, it's exactly
the whole
right.
thing is to be separated from God. Yes.
Meanwhile, they're trying to seek a higher form of enlightenment. That was a great movie. A great illustration of that is the Jesus Revolution. Who saw that? Calvary Chapel. The birth of Calvary Chapel.
Yeah.
Hey, have you seen that movie? You got to look that movie up. It is fantastic.
Okay.
Jesus Revolution.
Yeah.
Right? I'm saying it correct.
Jesus.
Fantastic movie talking about that very thing.
Yeah.
It's all too obvious that control has significantly affected many of us. However, we have got so used to the way we conduct our lives that we may be unconscious to how we're being controlled or how we exercise control over others. We've become disconnected. We're unconscious to it. Yet we're fully doing it. Unaware. Other people around us are aware. They are very aware.
Yeah.
Because they're not inside us. They are the recipient of that control.
It's hard. Another way of saying that, it's hard to see yourself.
You don't see it. We don't see it.
Yeah, the hardest one to work on is you.
Yes, of course it is. That's why most people won't do it.
Yeah.
They will gladly work on other people. They will not work on themselves. It hurts too much.
Yeah.
It takes too much work.
Yeah.
Ungodly control in our lives causes damage to ourselves and others. We need the revelation and conviction of God to be able to see what's happening in us, around us. Then we have the opportunity to let God bring freedom and restoration as we allow His Spirit to increasingly govern every aspect of ourselves. Definition of control. Control is exercising authority and power. Control is exercising authority and power. When God is the source of all this authority, it's a place of well-being for His people. When God is the source of all authority, it's a place of well-being for us, when God is in control. The lordship of Jesus is the very best spiritual government over our lives. And I'm going to explain that here. However, there's a battle in this world for authority, and Satan has gained a significant foothold. He even challenged Jesus with this very fact. And he, the devil, led him, Jesus, up and showed him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said, I will give you all of this domain. I will give you authority and its glory, for it has been handed over to me. And I will give it to whoever I wish. Luke chapter 4. You guys remember when Jesus was tempted in the wilderness, and then he was 40 days in the wilderness, and then he was led out and tempted? Who gave Satan that authority? Who gave Satan that authority? He had power from heaven. He had power. So he had power. Who gave him the authority? Happened in the very beginning. He was a serpent. Adam and Eve. Adam was given authority, power and authority in the garden. He was created in the likeness of God. He was given power and authority to do what in the garden? Name all the animals, tend it, take care of it. You have all the power and authority, Adam. It's you. Just don't do what? That one thing. Do anything you want except that one thing. You see your wife? Enjoy your wife. That's your gift. Enjoy her. You just don't do one thing, okay? Okay, boss, no problem. We got it, Father. Okay, we're good. Sure enough, he even told his wife, hey, don't even touch it. If you touch it, you'll die. All right. That's actually not what was said. But that's what Adam relayed the message. It's the telephone game. He then trades relationship with God with Satan. Because now you'll be like God. You'll know the difference between good and evil. Now you will know good and evil. and he became spiritually dead. He gave all the authority he had of earth to Satan. Now, Satan has authority. That's why Jesus came to take power and authority away from him and give it to his disciples, to give it to his people, the people of God, the children of God, those who become born again. And in the end, he's coming back to destroy the full works of Satan. The fun Armageddon, he's coming back. So that was sidebar. When we use authority to control, it's a process of exerting pressure on someone in order to meet our own desires. Depending on the relationship between ourselves and the ones we're controlling, we can force them into believing or doing things contrary to the desires of their heart. Our goal is to override their free will and get our own way. I am not talking about employers and employees. I'm not talking about that. That is, we are hired. All of us here are hired to do a job, to fulfill our obligation, and to honor our word. Right? We're all hired, at whatever level, we're all hired to do that. Even government workers, we talked about that. Even government workers, right? They're all hired at a level. Here's the point. Yes, we may have to apply pressure. Hey, I need you to accomplish this by this such and such time. That is our obligation. Is that controlling?
That's business.
I don't know if it's fully controlling as it is setting expectations of.
It's business.
Yeah, we gotta monitor expectations here and make sure output is being correct.
Somebody's got to do it.
However, we could use manipulation and then be very controlling and domineering and unhealthy. Mm-hmm. It's like a slippery slope. You're on the big ball, and if you go too far this way, and if you go to this way, so it's that balance.
If it's outside of work, it's controlling. If it's in the job, it's not.
It just depends on how we do it.
Yeah.
If it's domineering, if it's name calling, if it's something that's going to belittle someone so they obey.
And you're not doing it to make yourself feel better. Like you accomplished it. Look what I've done, and I feel better. Yeah, I'm making these guys do something and it makes me feel better.
Yeah, there's a motivational way to uplift someone, to get them in the mentality of we are here to create something. We are here to achieve something. Get on board with that. And here's the vision. You're casting a vision. It's like guys in a brick mason. The guys are in a quarry. You got three guys, and they're all chiseling rocks. I walk up to the first guy and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm just, making money so I can go home and put food on the table. Cool, great. What are you doing? Can't you see what I'm doing? I'm breaking rocks. Stupid. Of course. I asked the next guy, what are you doing? I'm building a chapel. I'm building a cathedral. That's what I'm doing. He understood that. Maybe the vision was cast well by his leader. Right? And that's what I'm talking about. You better keep breaking them rocks. We got something to accomplish here. Let's go. What are you? And start name calling everything else. There's ways that we can do things that people then fall into to say, you know what? They got the vision you got. Hey, we're building something bigger than ourselves here. It's beautiful. So there is ways to navigate this. There is ways to do it. I've done all of those things, by the way. As the employer, I've done all of that. And I'm very aware of it. Not proud of it, but I'm aware of it. People exercise this kind of control over individuals, groups, and even ourselves. We may be trying to achieve something which seems good to us, but a good result doesn't justify control as a means of getting there. Godly authority, on the other hand, always values free will, the ability to make a choice without pressure. And here's the damage to the individual. Many of the religious leaders around Jesus of his day, the Pharisees and Sadducees, they were masters of control. They were master manipulators. And Jesus called it out every time. That's why they hated him so much. He was hip to their game, and he called it out to their faces. They made strict rules and regulations and held the people in a place of what? Control. They were in a place of oppression and intimidation. Ungodly control can weigh very heavily on the whole of our being. Matthew chapter 23, verse 4, they tie up, this is Jesus speaking, they tie up heavy burdens and they lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves are unwilling to even lift them with a single finger. They themselves aren't even willing to do the work themselves. And if you were so heavy burdened with my weight that I put on your shoulders, and how would you say, what are you, weak? You can't handle it? Loser. Versus saying, hey, let me help you. Let me help you out of this. What am I doing here? Let me give you some help. Obviously, I think that was a little too hard. That obviously was too much. What am I doing? Oh, I'm so sorry. Let's figure this out a different way. God didn't design our bodies to carry such a load. It crushes the human soul, mind, will, and emotions. Soul, mind, intellect, emotions, how we're feeling, how we're processing, and our willpower. It crushes it when we're being domineered by somebody. And eventually brings disorder to our physical being. Literally, you start to take on the weight of it. Our bodies will always reflect the condition of our hearts. Godly leaders don't control others. The comparison with Jesus, even though Jesus described himself as the one whom all authority has been given, in Matthew chapter 28, he didn't use that authority to hold on to his followers. He didn't use it to mandate anything of his followers, actually. And Jesus still today has how many billion followers? This generation, today. When hundreds of followers, remember the key word followers, when hundreds of followers had left him because they found his teaching too hard, Jesus gently asked the 12 disciples what their choice was going to be in this situation. He asked them, would you like to also leave? This was after he talked about his body being bread. It's broken if you eat it. Like you say, my body. He said, if anybody eats of my flesh, they don't eat of my flesh, they won't live. He's talking that, and that was in John chapter 6. And so he said, do you also want to leave? To his 12, to his closest, do you also want to leave? He didn't say, you better not leave. Oh, you don't know how bad it'll be if you leave. He didn't manipulate them. He gave them choice. He said, do you want to stay? Because I know this is a hard teaching for you. Dang, that's mind-blowing. How amazing is that the King of the universe would give such freedom to his followers? Our free will response to him is that important. It's always about free will. And if we ever wanted love from our wives, we want it out of free will. If we want love from our children, we want it out of their free will. Because love demanded is not love at all. It's just not love. Our love relationship with God, to be real, it must be free. We must be free to say no. I'm not interested, God. I don't want it. No. We should be okay to walk away. And not have heaven fall down on our heads. I'm going to strike you dead if... No. Honestly, we were raised in such a way that it was a heavy arm, heavy hand of, if you do that, you're going to have this form of punishment. So it was more compelled to walk in a way of holiness versus just out of love. Here's a good example. Peter, he said no how many times when it came to knowing Jesus as his master, as his follower, as his leader, as his rabbi? How many times did Peter say, I don't know him? 3 times. 3 times. Him and Jesus had the conversation the night before. I'll never leave you. I will never abandon you. I will go down to the grave standing up for you. And every one of us would have been like, I'm there with you, Peter. Because the others were like, yeah! Right? Do you know this man? No. You're with him? No. You're one of his followers? No, I'm not. That was his free will, was it not? What was driving his reasoning for saying no? What was the driving force of why did he say no?
Punishment.
Death.
Yep.
His body was afraid. His flesh was afraid of what was happening. He knew Christ was going to go be crucified. He knew it. Jesus had already told him multiple times. And in the moment, he was like, fear gripped him. It would have happened to any of us, honestly. How many times did Jesus restore Peter afterwards, after he resurrected? How many times did Peter have to respond back to Jesus? Peter, do you love me? 3 times. 3 times. He went out fishing. After Jesus was dead, was gone. Just, I'm going fishing. What do you do? I'm going back to work. Right?
Your wife's at the window.
She's right.
JT.
Okay. Oh, you did? Okay, now.
There you are. And so, one of the things that Jesus did was he restored Peter back to a place of friendship. And not just friendship. Peter, Peter, do you really love me? Rabbi, of course I love you.
But the thing is that Jesus knew. The difference between what Jesus knew and what Peter knew was like night and day.
Because he saw it already happen.
I mean, Jesus knew that Peter was going to be okay. He was going to save him anyway.
Do you know how we know that? Because Jesus said, the devil has asked me for you. But don't worry, I've prayed for you, Peter.
Yeah.
You're going to make it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Hey, guys, you're about to go through a whole lot of crap. You just had a huge success. Life is going really, really well for you. You're about to go through some hell. But don't worry. I've prayed for you. You're going to come through it. Wouldn't we feel a little better knowing that this is just a test? We're going to get through this?
And I think Jesus knew, like, you know what? I mean, whether I got him right now or whether I get him up after he dies, we got him.
Either way, we got him.
You know, it doesn't really
We're
matter.
safe in his hands.
Yeah, we're still his hands, right? Yeah.
We're safe. And this, David Cross shares a story here from his book. It's called A Case Study, but I'm going to share it with you, and then we're going to go into some of these questions. David says, I remember a man, we'll call his name Graham, who told us about his childhood. His memory of his mother was that he lived continually under her disapproval. It seemed as if every day he had tried to please her, but almost never heard the words of affirmation or encouragement. He led his life, and he tried desperately for his mother's approval, increasingly weighed down by her negative responses. So whatever he did, didn't matter what he did, that was good. He never got the, well done, my boy. I love you, son. You did great. Like affirmation, right? I have seldom seen a man so clearly bent over by such relentless control. Literally, his physical body was stooped over pronounced. Like that's how he walked. I've met people like that. I've actually, when I was 18, 19, I was like that. I was so beat up by life. That's how I walked around. And I know it because my wife, who wasn't my wife at that time, she said, stand up. Stand up. And I'm like, I am. She goes, no, roll your shoulders back. She goes, you're beaten up. Like, what's going on? It was a deeper thing there. And it took me some years to really work through it. But you're right. Why am I always like that?
That's the way you were raised.
I was beat down.
Yeah.
Very hard. Very hard. And it took years to get to the point where I could actually roll my shoulders back. And not in pride, but
Yeah.
as we talked,